So, what do you think? Still there after all that screwing around? And can one drink with propriety at this hour? I know they can in Germany because they're 6 hours ahead of us. But I mean, does this thing sound any good? Because I really can't tell. This is the second delay pedal I've had in a delay reverb, Sonicake Sonic Ambience. Not sure what I think of the name Sonicake, but like Sonic Youth, I hated that name the first time I heard it. It wasn't until a lot later that I started to ignore that I didn't like the name because I love the band. But Sonicake Sonic Ambience, it's more of a reverb pedal than a delay pedal, I guess, but it's, got the reverb settings on top and the delay settings on bottom, and you can mix them. And I strongly get the impression I don't know what I'm doing and how all these parameters interact with each other. And also, I've never had a reverb pedal before. I've just never seen a use for it live. And it's the kind of thing I always left to the engineer, just reverb, send them a dry signal and let them screw around with the parameters. I never felt like you would just like slam on a reverb pedal on stage or delay. Like I have never had the desire to make echoey sounds or repeating sounds, especially not live. And now that I'm more into like studio solo recordings, it's still something I'd leave to the engineer. I've been working with people I meet on YouTube like Max Weathersfield and Johnny Zent have done the production for a lot of my stuff, and they always apply reverb and delay where I like it. But they're looking at it from a whole different perspective, and I've been watching videos by people who do delay with it creates a lot of depth for simple solo guitar, but in more of soundscapes than rock songs, And again, Max Weathersfield, Noodles with a Z, and Loop Based Zero are all guys who can sit down with a guitar and it's heavily processed, wide range of effects, and make something that's really immersive sounding, and you don't notice that it's not really a rock song. Like it's not riff oriented, no drums, and the delay is a key thing. But they're using pedals that are a lot more highfalutin than what I got here. This was an impulse buy because I wasn't even sure what my goal was. I wanted something delay oriented, I guess, to make an ambient solo guitar video in the style of my heroes, Loop Based Zero and Noodles and stuff, Max Weathersfield. And I knew that Sonicake made one pedal I like, this Wave Crush. I've seriously used this all the time, but it's also something like for the ambience, because the bit crush noise that it makes, you kind of like blend it around in the background, and it makes disturbing sounding background noises. It's really cool. So I figured Sonicake might have other good stuff. And then plate reverb, obviously fake. Like, what are the criteria by which you evaluate how good a reverb or delay sounds? I just don't know. Like, I'm honestly asking, what's your opinion? Do you have one of these? And if you do, what settings do you use? Because I just obviously have I got some of the settings I got here in this little jam just obviously sounded fake as fuck. And sometimes that's kind of interesting for like a soundscape. Some of them had the sound where they take away the attack so much that it just doesn't sound like a guitar. And that actually has its place. That can be kind of cool if you're doing something that's deliberately weird sounding, which I've gotten a lot more into, because the core Shy Squad sound back in the olden days was really no effects or a little overdrive and just amp sound. I got a Fender Twin and I love the sound of that. Just dial in an amp sound you're satisfied with, add a little overdrive, slam on the full distortion once in a while, but that's it. And then I just never had the impulse to start using heavy effects on stage, and the whole thing in Shy Squad was like just live only, you know. And now I'm getting in more into the idea of like doing space. I don't know, space rock. I don't know what you call it. Ambient. I kind of hate ambient. Kind of sounds like it's new age, adult oriented, serious music. I don't know about that, but you know, uh, more weirdness than riff oriented hard rock. You know, so I just can't tell if this. I know I'm gonna use it more and figure out what to do. My goal is just to make a solo guitar recording that sounds interesting and screw around with the settings until I do that. I don't know. But yeah, if you have one of these, I'd like to hear what you think. Were there any parts in this recording I made where you're like, oh, that's a really good sound? You know, put a timestamp if you can, if you care enough to, because I'm really curious. And like I said, you know, I've never tried screwing around with these myself, and I always thought the best idea was make a recording totally dry so that the engineer can impart the compression and reverb to just make it sound like, you know, a little more awesome than it actually is, you know. And but I was always into the minimal effects thing. All of my favorite bands mostly were not very heavy into effects. Like, surprisingly, early Sonic Youth was mostly getting cool amp sounds and the sound of their tuning. That was the effect, you know, in their like first 5 albums or so. It wasn't until much later that they started getting into like serious modulation and heavy effects use. And then Shellac is really almost all clean. That harmonic percolator, he hardly actually ever uses it, and it's just to generate feedback. And then another band, the X from the Netherlands, they really rarely use really serious. I bet they have a little overdrive or something, but they don't really use any extreme effects. Also, David Byrne. The Talking Heads. A lot of it was centered around a jangly guitar, clean guitar sound, and I thought that was awesome. So a lot of my influences don't really have heavy processing, and especially not switching on an echoey sound like right in the middle of a song. But that can be cool, as I have found when producers work on my shit and add, you know, delays. It can really enhance the scope of it. So it's not like I'm against this at all. In fact, I'm just getting interested in it after years of playing and realizing I just have no idea how to dial in a good delay. And maybe this isn't the right pedal for it. This seems to be a hybrid reverb delay pedal. So if you can recommend what I should get into, ideally something cheap. I don't want to spend a lot of money on a pedal because when it gets into the $200 or euro range, I would much rather get a guitar like this Firefly here. This one turned out to actually be a dud because it doesn't intonate the lowest string, which is why I have it in this drone tuning. So you can just throw them on the low string. Don't notice that it's going out of tune. But anyway, enough yakking. If you heard any sounds you like, please leave a timestamp of when they were in this video. If you know how to use this pedal, please let me know what setting I could try. And if you have a recommendation for a relatively inexpensive delay pedal I should try, something that really stands out from the pack, let me know about that. And if you made it through all of that screwing around and all of that yakking, more power to you, and I'll take you out with the customary all-round carefree outro. Bye!